Revealed. The touching secret call sign that inspired my dad's incredible transformation in court. Alex Bennett slammed the attic door behind him, the sound echoing through the empty house like a hunger cry. Rain pounded the roof, a constant reminder of the storm brewing in his family. The air was thick with musty memories and unspoken words. His fingers brushed against old boxes, photographs, and dusty relics. But it was a vintage radio that caught his eye. The silver knobs were tarnished but familiar, like a piece of his father's past waiting to be rediscovered. With a hesitant twist, the radio crackled to life. Eras of music and voices spilled out and filled the attic, dancing on the static, a chaotic symphony that felt almost alive. Then, a voice broke through the noise. Eagle Eye, it was Bob's secret call sign from his military days. A whisper thick with valor and heartache. The words struck Alex like a lightning bolt. Beneath his father's defeated exterior was a man once imbued with dreams. A flicker of hope ignited inside him, urging him to act. Dinner at the Bennetts had turned into a silent ordeal, tension wrapping around them like a suffocating fog. Bob, once the anchor of their family, appeared lost in shadows, his strength dulled by the weight of job loss and wrongful termination. Alex couldn't bear the sight of his father's despair. He wiped away tears and craved the laughter that used to fill their home, a laughter now replaced by anxiety-laden silence. Driven by love, Alex began a campaign among his classmates, bringing their small town together. Each post on social media was a tribute, a celebration of Bob's sacrifices. Eagle Eye was my hero, read one mantra, accompanied by a photo of Bob saluting in his crisp uniform. The floodgates opened. People shared their stories of resilience, of standing up against injustice. The community rallied. They reminded each other what it meant to support one another, to fight for what is right. The momentum swelled. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The days passed, and anxiety settled over Alex like a heavy blanket. Bob didn't speak of the trial, nor did he mention stepping up to reclaim his story. Silence enveloped their home, a bittersweet reminder of fear and vulnerability. Could his father accept the spotlight after all the shame? With every passing moment, Alex's heart raced. Will Bob rise to the challenge or retreat into despair? As the courtroom day arrived, the walls buzzed with anticipation, filled with familiar faces eager to offer support. Alex searched Bob's eyes, hoping to find a glimmer of the man he grew up looking up to, the man who fought for them and to keep dreams alive. The clock ticked, way too loud, like a countdown to everything they've fought for. In that moment, something ignited within Bob. The whisper of Eagle Eye echoed louder than ever. It wasn't just a call sign. It was a call to courage. Would he embrace the call and rise to reclaim their story? The air crackled with tension, the weight of their future pressing upon them. And Alex's hope hung, teetering on the brink of redemption or despair. Would Bob step forward or remain shackled by his fears? The doors of the courthouse swung open, revealing a sea of faces, all waiting with bated breath. Alex's heart raced as he felt the warmth of his friends' support surrounding him. Each glowing smile and whisper of encouragement reminded him of the power of community. But he was focused on one person, the man who had shaped his very identity. Bob stood at the entrance, his shoulders tense, eyes downcast, grappling with emotions that Alex could see just beneath the surface. "Dad," he called softly, stepping closer. "Remember why we're here?" Bob's gaze flickered up, meeting Alex's unwavering eyes. For a fleeting moment, the chaotic world around them faded away. Alex felt the rush of memories, the way Bob would come home after a long day, his laughter echoing through the house, filling it with warmth. He craved that man back, the one who knew how to fight for what was right, not just in battle but in life. "Eagle Eye," Bob murmured, Half to himself, a flicker of resolve sparked in his eyes, and Alex edged closer. You fought for us, Dad. This is your chance to show everyone the hero you truly are. The hallway filled with hushed whispers as Bob straightened up, the weight of his call sign wrapping around him like armor. He stepped forward, uncertainty gradually melting away. They moved together toward the courtroom, the air thick with anticipation. As they entered, the atmosphere shifted. People turned to look, eyes filled with admiration and concern. The judge sat at the front, a stern figure, an impartial witness to the story they were all about to witness. Bob's expression hardened, determination mingling with fear. Alex squeezed his father's hand, grounding him amid the chaos. When the trial began, Bob took a deep breath, poised to deliver his truth. Alex sat at the edge of his seat, heart pounding. It was time for Bob to reclaim not just his story, but himself. Mr. Bennett, the prosecutor began, his voice cold and cutting. You're here to defend yourself against accusations that may ruin your reputation. Bob took another breath, steadying himself. I'm not just defending myself. His voice rose, surprising Alex. I'm representing every soldier who faced unjust treatment. Vibrance seeped into his words, grounding them in a truth he had buried for too long. I chose to serve my country, and I will not let lies define who I am. The room fell silent. Alex felt a surge of pride swelling in his chest. This was it. His father was finally taking a stand. It was more than just a courtroom drama. It was a battle for dignity, self-worth, and family legacy. With each word, Bob painted their story, reclaiming it brushstroke by brushstroke. The influence of the community echoed in the courtroom, and Alex caught glimpses of familiar faces nodding in support. A few audience members even wiped away tears, touched by Bob's vulnerable honesty and strength. As the trial pressed on, Alex leaned forward, knowing they were on the precipice of something monumental. The judge, captivated by Bob's testimony, glanced up with a rare spark of understanding. But in the back of his mind, Alex pondered, would it be enough? As Bob spoke about sacrifice, the emotional weight hung in the air, and Alex realized that their fight wasn't just for vindication, but for healing. Would they cement their family legacy in these walls? Or would the shadows of the past threaten to pull them back into despair? The moment felt electric, a clashing of resilience against doubt. And then a resonating question lingered: could Bob's redemption extend beyond the courtroom, impacting their lives and community forever? As he searched for the answer in his father's steadfast eyes, Alex felt one truth emerge. Hope was the most powerful weapon of all. What awaited them as the trial pushed toward its climax? Bob's voice echoed in the stillness of the courtroom. He continued, uncharted territory unfolding before him. Every soldier knows that honor doesn't just come from the battles fought. It's also about the stories shared, the families waiting at home, and the ghosts that haunt us long after the fight is over. Alex's heart ached as he listened. Bob wasn't just speaking. He was bearing his soul. The weight of the past hung heavy, but there was a palpable shift in the air. The audience leaned in closer, captivated by the raw honesty of a man he had been trying to run from for too long. I've carried the burden of my decisions, Bob continued, his voice trembling but steady. I watched comrades fall, and for years, I believed I had to carry that all on my own. But I've learned that confronting the truth offers a different kind of strength. Eyes glistened with tears throughout the courtroom. The prosecutor, who had seemed so formidable just moments prior, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. This wasn't the usual courtroom banter. This was something deeper, more profound. Next to Alex, he could see his mother's fingers tighten around the armrest, her knuckles white. He caught her eye, and they shared a moment of understanding. They were on this journey together. Whatever would come, they were a family. Eagle, I was not just a call sign, Bob explained, letting the words flow gently now. It was a promise to watch over my brothers and sisters in arms, to keep an eye out for them in both the battlefield and the quiet after. But I lost sight of that promise within myself. The tension in the room shifted. Alex could feel hope blooming around him, a fragile yet resilient flower seeking sunlight. If Bob could come to terms with his past, Perhaps they could all find a way to heal together. Every story counts, Bob said, pausing to lock eyes with Alex, as if he saw his son's pain mirrored in his own. Even the stories we want to forget. They shape us. They remind us who we were, what we fought for, and who we will fight for in the future. I'm fighting for everyone, but especially for my family. Alex felt a fire igniting in his chest as he absorbed his father's words. The journey of healing wasn't just for Bob but for all of them. There was a moment where silence reigned. The gravity of Bob's confession hung in the air. Then, murmurs crackled among the audience as a wave of acceptance swept through. Eyes softened. Some nodded in solidarity. Bob was drawing them in, not out of guilt, but with a renewed strength that shone like a beacon still. The prosecutor was unfazed, tightening his grip on his papers. With a sharp inhale, he regained his composure and asked, "But how can you expect us to believe that this transformation is real? How can we trust that you're not just saying what you think we want to hear?" Bob straightened his shoulders. "You can't just trust my words. You must see it in my actions. This is just the beginning of my journey. I refuse to be defined by failure. I'll prove that change is possible." Alex's pulse quickened. This was the moment that could determine everything. Would the court see Bob's sincerity? Would they recognize the courage it took to lay himself bare? He thought of the community waiting outside and whether they would emerge from this trial scarred or strengthened. And just like that, the realization dawned on him. This was not just Bob's battle, this was theirs. Every step forward, together, was a testament to resilience. But looming uncertainty lingered in Alex's mind. Could Bob truly transform? Or would he slip back into the shadows once more? As the tension rose to a near unbearable level, Alex found himself desperate to hold on to the thread of hope that had woven through Bob's testimony. What awaited them on this journey beyond the courtroom? Bob stood firm, the courtroom atmosphere turning electric. The prosecutor remained skeptical, but his questions had lost their edge. There was something powerful in the air, a sense of unity growing among the crowd, a realization that everyone had a part in this story. "Your actions will speak for you?" the prosecutor pushed, trying to regain his footing. But the edges of his skepticism were softening. "I get that," Bob replied, his voice calm but resolute. "But I can't change yesterday. All I can do is show you what I'm going to do today and tomorrow. It starts with being real with my family. It starts with saying sorry for the wounds I inflicted without realizing it." Alex held his breath, the weight of his father's honesty hanging heavily between them. He glanced at his mom. Her tears glistened in the harsh fluorescent light. But these weren't just tears of sadness. There was hope shining through them. "Go ahead," Bob continued, his gaze sweeping across the courtroom. "Ask me anything. I owe it to you all." A stillness fell again, heavy, but not like before. This silence had the texture of possibility. "Why didn't you ever come back for us?" A voice interrupted from the crowd. It was a young woman, her expression a mix of pain and bravery. "You left us behind." Bob inhaled deeply, "Because I was terrified. Terrified of facing my failures, of seeing the hurt I caused. I thought I was protecting you by staying away, but all I did was create more distance. I realize now, I was wrong." The room shifted. Each word dug into the hearts of those who had felt abandoned. Alex felt a swell of empathy, understanding the weight Bob had carried for so long. "Can you truly change?" Another questioned, unsure yet hopeful. Bob nodded, determination etched across his face. "I've already started to. This isn't about my past anymore. It's about what I want for my future. No more ghosts. I want to build a life filled with love and honesty." The words resonated, stirring even the most hardened hearts. The audience began muttering, some in disbelief, others in growing acceptance. Alex's heart raced. His father's sincerity was radiating, trembling with raw emotion. If only everyone could see him the way Alex now did, an imperfect man, but one willing to fight for forgiveness. Finally, the judge raised a hand, quieting the room. "Mr. Eagle, your willingness to confront these issues is commendable. But action speaks louder than words. We will need more than promises." "Yes, ma'am. I understand," Bob replied, a newfound respect creeping into his tone. My actions will define my future. As the judge began to piece together the next steps for the court proceedings, something shifted within Alex. He felt a fire building, a call to action rising in him. If his father was stepping into this light, then he had to do the same. They could heal together, rebuild what was lost. Yet, a nagging doubt kept whispering in his mind. What if Bob couldn't follow through? What if the shadows returned to swallow him whole? Before he could lose himself in that dark thought, the court adjourned for a brief recess. People began to stir, conversations flaring up, bolstered by hope. Bob moved to Alex, the space between father and son feeling all at once smaller and colossal, fraught with meaning. Son, Bob said, his voice softer. I want to go home when this is done. For real this time. Alex nodded, the hope blooming brighter within him. But the fear tangled with it was a raw, weeping wound. Would they truly make it back to each other? A sense of urgency coursed through him. There were steps to be taken, conversations to have. But what if they ventured too close to pain that could break them again? As the elders filed out and the prosecutors conferred, Alex turned to his dad one last time, his resolve hardening. Together then, Bob met his gaze, a glimmer of understanding passing between them. Together, the bond felt fragile, yet as they stepped into the uncertain future ahead, Alex couldn't shake the feeling the real journey was just beginning. What would it demand of them next? As Alex and Bob stepped out of the courtroom, the air outside felt different, lighter somehow, as if they had crossed an invisible boundary. Sunlight streamed down, painting the pavement in warm hues, and for the first time in a long while, Alex felt a flicker of optimism. But behind that flicker was a storm of anxiety. They were taking their first steps towards something new, but could they really do it together? Hey, let's get some fresh air, Bob suggested, nodding toward a small park nearby. His voice held a mix of relief and lingering tension. It was as if they both knew the battle inside wasn't over. It had just shifted locations as they walked. The silence between them felt warm, permeated by the sounds of the city around them, the distant honks of cars, laughter from children playing, the rustle of leaves swaying in the wind. It was a stark contrast to the hushed chaos of the courtroom, and it gave Alex room to think. Do you think they'll believe us? Alex finally asked, breaking the stillness. The question hung in the air, a fragile thread ready to snap. Bob turned to him, eyes earnest. I don't know, but I believe in us. That has to count for something. Alex bit his lip. He wanted to believe it too. The past loomed like a heavy shadow over them, yet hope glimmered just out of reach. When they reached the park, they found a bench under a tall oak tree. Bob sat down first, his gaze focused somewhere far away. Alex hesitated for a moment before joining him, feeling the weight of unspoken words pressing between them. Dad, I know this is hard, Alex began, searching for the right words. But there is something I need to tell you. Bob turned to him, brow furrowed with concern. What is it? Taking a deep breath, Alex forged ahead. I've been angry for a long time. At you, at everything that happened. You didn't just leave us. You took part of me with you. The admission felt like a wound reopening, fresh and raw. Bob's expression softened, and he nodded slowly. I understand. I've been angry at myself for a long time too. I wish I could take it all back. Do you really think you can change? Alex's voice trembled, a mix of hope and doubt swirling within him. Sometimes I'm scared to trust that you can. Bob met his gaze, determination firming his features. I have to change. Not just for you and your mom, but for myself. I've realized I can't let my past be my prison anymore. Then why didn't you say this before? Alex countered, frustration breaking through. Why now? Because it took me until that moment in the courtroom to understand what it really meant to face my mistakes. Standing there, I saw not just the pain I caused, but also how much I lost, Bob replied, his voice steady but heavy with emotion. Alex turned his gaze away, trying to shield the tears welling up. He thought about all the moments lost. Family dinners, birthday celebrations, the quiet evenings filled with laughter gone. But then he remembered. They had a chance to create new memories, perhaps even better ones if they could navigate the tough road ahead. "Can we start with a simple promise, then?" Alex asked, voice breaking slightly. "Let us not shut each other out. Ever again." Bob reached out, clasping Alex's hand in his. "Promise. No more walls, just truth and love. Together." The promise hung like a lifeline between them, and Alex felt a surge of hope smother the fear. This was the beginning of something beautiful, but it wouldn't come easy. As they sat there, the sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows. A vision danced in Alex's mind, father and son rebuilding their lives, carving a new path no matter how challenging it could become. Just then, a bird landed on a nearby branch, chirping a joyful tune. It felt like a sign, a little nudge from the universe. But something stirred deep within Alex. The questions remained, lingering like an uninvited guest. What awaited them on this journey? Would they be strong enough to face the ghosts of the past? As the shadows lengthened around them, a wave of uncertainty washed over Alex. Would they truly be able to heal together, or was the risk of falling apart still too great? The air shifted as darkness fell over the park, the sun slipping behind buildings and leaving a chill that wasn't just from the temperature. Alex squeezed his father's hand, grounding himself against the looming discomfort. They had said their promises, but words fell short of building a bridge over the years of hurt and resentment. Suddenly, a soft laugh echoed nearby. Alex turned to see a small group of kids chasing each other, their laughter brightening the dimming surroundings. For a brief moment, he remembered the joy of being that carefree. It felt distant, yet so close, a reminder of what had been lost, not just family, but his own innocence. "Dad," Alex started, needing to voice more than just promises. "What happens when we mess up? When it all gets tough again?" Bob's face tightened, the color draining slightly. "That's the gamble we're taking. It's about how we deal with those missteps together." He paused, searching for a deeper truth in the evening air. Every family has its scars. It's how you choose to heal that counts. But Alex hesitated, biting his lip. "What if you slip again? What if I can't forgive you?" Bob looked deep into his son's eyes, a mix of sadness and determination swirling in his own. "Then we fix it. Together. We can't promise perfection, but we can promise to keep talking, to keep trying. I won't shut you out again." A flutter of hope stirred in Alex's chest. Yet uncertainty still gnawed at him. Did Bob really mean it? Would this time be different? Or were they just spinning dreams in the air? In that moment, Alex felt the warmth of a voice from just behind them. "You can't let the past define who you are." An older woman, perhaps in her 70s, with kind eyes and a warm smile, sat on a bench nearby. "Sometimes it takes allowing ourselves to be vulnerable for the real healing to begin." Bob nodded slowly, absorbing her words like a balm on a wound. "Thank you," he said, the weight of their situation settling more heavily on him. The woman smiled. "Just remember, healing isn't linear. You'll stumble. It's part of being human. But love can guide you back." Alex glanced at Bob, searching for his father's reaction to this unexpected wisdom. "See?" he whispered. "It's not just us. There's always hope." The two exchanged a look of mutual understanding, fortified by an outsider's wisdom. Still, doubts lingered in Alex. Love was easy to say but hard to practice. That as night fell, they finally stood to leave, the park quieting around them. A fresh ache filled Alex's heart as he remembered the comforting embrace of his childhood. They were stepping into a new phase, but the way ahead felt murky, like a fog that blocked the path. With each step towards the entrance, he felt the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. "Dad, what's the first step?" he asked, hesitant but hopeful. Bob took a deep breath, glancing at the now starry sky. "Let us have dinner together. Just the two of us. Talk openly, no distractions." It felt like a small but monumental step, like lighting a candle in a dark room. "All right." Alex nodded slowly, feeling a flicker of warmth build up. "Let us do it." As they walked toward the car, a sudden thought struck Alex. He had been focused on what could go wrong, what could tear them apart again. But maybe, just maybe, this was the chance to discover not just who Bob was now, but who Alex wanted to be with him going forward. A sudden breeze whispered through the trees, swirling fallen leaves around their feet. Alex paused, feeling the energy shift. What was it they were walking toward? What awaited them at that dinner table? His heart raced with the questions: was this the start of redemption, or merely a prelude to disappointment? What truth would be laid bare when they finally sat down and opened their hearts? As they approached the car, Alex couldn't shake the jittery feeling in his stomach. The combination of anticipation and dread swirled inside him like a storm. It was one thing to share space, but now they were headed for a conversation that had been years in the making. Bob opened the passenger door for Alex and then climbed into the driver's seat. The familiar hum of the engine echoed in the confines of the car, a sound that once soothed him as a child, but now felt heavy with shared history. What would Mom think? Alex asked suddenly, breaking the silence. Bob's grip on the steering wheel tightened, and he let out a long breath. Your mom would want us to give it our best shot. She always believed in second chances. Yeah, but she also knew when to step back, Alex countered, the tension in his voice rising. Maybe she wouldn't have trusted us. Bob nodded, the weight of regret etched in the lines of his face. Maybe, but we can't let her absence continue to hold us back. It's just us now, and we have to decide who we want to be without her. For a moment, they both stared ahead at the road bathed in dim streetlight, a stark contrast to the vibrant memories that flooded Alex's mind. He thought about the meals they had shared, the games they once played, and the laughter that filled their home. But then he remembered the distance that grew after everything shattered, the hurt echoing in the silence that replaced joy. Do you really think we can fix this? Alex whispered, a hint of vulnerability creeping into his voice. Bob turned to him, his eyes glistening under the low light. I do. We just have to be open about what we're feeling and not shy away from the hard parts. The sincerity in his father's voice stirred something deep within Alex. He could see that Bob was trying, genuinely trying, but fear still clung to him. What if the conversation opened back up old wounds? What if the attempt at healing led to more hurt? They arrived at a cozy diner with warm lights glowing from the window. The small space felt inviting, one where people gathered to share stories over plates of comfort food. As they walked in, the bell jingled above the door, and a server greeted them with a smile. They slid into a booth at the back, the table stained from countless meals but sturdy nonetheless. Bob glanced at the menu, then set it down, looking directly at Alex. A lot has changed between us, and I'm aware that trust is something we need to rebuild, he began, choosing his words carefully. But I want to be honest about my past, about my mistakes. You deserve to know. Why now? Alex asked, a mix of curiosity and wariness in his tone. After all this time? Because I don't want to lose you again, Bob replied, his voice thick with emotion. You've always been my son, and I want to be the father you can count on. For the first time in years, Alex felt a warm pulse of hope. But the questions loomed larger now. What did Bob want to reveal? How would it change their fragile dynamic? Each heartbeat echoed in his chest, a reminder that every moment counted. Just then, the door swung open and a gust of wind swept through the diner, an unwelcome reminder of the outside world. Suddenly, Alex felt the shadows from his past whispering around him, waiting to disrupt this moment. What might Bob say that could either bind them closer or tear them apart again? As the waitress approached their table, pen poised and ready, Alex held his breath. Would he be ready for whatever revelations were about to come? And were they truly prepared to navigate the storm ahead together? The waitress set a glass of water in front of Alex and placed the menus down, her cheerful demeanor contrasting painfully with the tension that hung in the air. What can I get for you two? She asked, but her voice muddled into background noise as the weight of the moment took hold. Bob glanced at the menu again, his fingers tracing the laminated edges. Just coffee for me, he said, his gaze returning to Alex, who felt the clock ticking as the seconds stretched between them. I'll have the burger, Alex replied. His stomach was knotted, but he was grateful for the simple choice. The waitress jotted down their orders and walked away, leaving them alone again in this small universe of dialogue yet to unfold. Bob began, his expression shifting. I need to tell you about the last time I messed up. The thing I never told you. The phrase froze Alex in place. His heart raced, pounding louder than the clinking of silverware from the diners around them. What do you mean? I thought we talked about everything back then. Bob shook his head, his jaw tightening. I buried some things, deep things that I thought wouldn't affect you, but I realize now how wrong I was. It isn't easy admitting my mistakes, but you deserve honesty. Alex felt a chill wrap around his spine. Just tell me. What is it? I was in a tough spot, Bob explained, his voice strained. After your mother's passing, I grieved in ways that weren't healthy. I started drinking too much, and it got out of hand before I even noticed. The room narrowed, and Alex's breath hitched. Memories of his father's late-night mood swings rushed back like an old film reel, fights with friends, missed dinners, the lonely nights filled with echoes of shouted anger. I always thought it was me, he confessed, his voice trembling, that I drove you to that. Bob's eyes widened. No, don't you dare think that. It was my choice. I lost control and I took it all out on the people I loved. I pushed you away when I should have pulled you closer. Alex's heart stuttered, the burden of blame that had settled on his shoulders suddenly shifting. So why didn't you just ask for help? I thought I could handle it alone. I thought I could protect you from seeing my struggles, Bob admitted, his voice soft but heavy. But it wasn't just hurting me. It broke us both. Silence dragged like molasses between them as Alex processed the flood of revelations. The wall he had built around himself began to crack, and beneath the anger and hurt lay a sliver of understanding. Why are you telling me this now? Because I want to change. I've been sober for 2 years, and I still fight those demons every day, Bob said. But it's worth fighting if it means I can have you back in my life. Tears pricked at Alex's eyes. The admission felt like a lifeline reaching across the chasm of sorrow separating them. But what did it mean for them both moving forward? Could they really heal? Just then, the waitress returned with their meals, breaking the fragile moment. She set the plates in front of them and smiled. Enjoy your food, guys. Alex barely noticed the warmth of the burger steam rising. His mind was still entwined in their conversation. Alex, Bob began again, a resolve in his voice. I want to try and be a better man. But it starts with talking about the past. And the good things, too. Can you give me that chance? Alex looked into his father's eyes, the weight of the moment pressing down hard. He was on the edge of a decision that could change everything. Did he dare to hope? Did he want to believe in the father he had longed for? As the air thickened with unsaid words, Alex felt something shift within him. What would it mean for them to move forward together? And just like that, the world outside spun on. But in their booth, they had just begun a new journey as the truth peeked through the cracks of their shared past, promising both scars and healing. What else was buried, waiting to be uncovered? Would hope triumph over years of hurt? Alex's heart was racing, still tinged with confusion and hope. The clang of plates and laughter around them faded into a distant hum. He took a shaky bite of his burger, wrestling with thoughts that wouldn't settle. Bob watched him closely, eyes softened by the glow of regret intertwined with fear. You know, it's not just about me anymore, he said. It's about us, and what I've missed out on. Missed? Alex echoed, each syllable weighted with emotion. You don't think I've missed something too? You didn't just miss my life, Dad. You left a hole, big enough for me to feel like I was stranded out here alone. Bob's shoulders sagged, and his lip trembled slightly. I know, and I can't take that back. He paused, and when he spoke again, his voice was barely above a whisper. But I can try to fill it now, if you'll let me. Alex studied him. It felt surreal to see this man, his father, sitting across from him, vulnerable and real. He wanted to scream, to express all the years of hurt, but instead, he found himself nodding slowly. What do you even mean by try? How do I know you won't mess up again? The waitress approached, oblivious to the weighty conversation, and refilled their coffee cups. Bob waited until she was gone, leaning in closer, his eyes earnest. I've been going to support meetings, learning about myself and how I affect those around me. I want to break the cycle. I want to be a father you can rely on, not a shadowy figure haunting your memories. A knot twisted tighter in Alex's stomach. So, this is about proving you're better? That's what it feels like, Dad. He wasn't sure if the bitterness was directed at Bob or at himself. What if you fail again? I could fail, Bob admitted, a flicker of fear passing over his face. But it's not just about the past anymore. It's about what the future holds, and I need you to believe in me just a little so we can build something solid together. Alex felt the warmth of the burger fade. The weight of the moment eclipsed his hunger. He wanted to believe, truly he did. It's hard, you know. Trust doesn't just get handed back like an old book. I realized that. Bob leaned back, hands raised in surrender. This is not a quick fix, Alex. It's going to take work from both of us. But I'm committed to trying. It'll be awkward and it might hurt, but if we keep having these conversations, maybe, just maybe, we can move past this. A bittersweet smile tugged at the corner of Alex's lips. If I agree to this, how do I know things won't go back to how they were? Bob reached across the table, hesitating before finally placing his hand over Alex's. You'll have to call me out. Just like I need to be honest when I stumble. I want us to hold each other accountable. The warmth of his father's touch sent a spark through Alex, one he hadn't felt in ages. It felt unfamiliar yet comforting. I don't know if I'm ready for that, he admitted, terror and excitement mixing in a jumbled cocktail of emotions. I get it, Bob replied gently, but can you at least try? Just start with small steps? As Alex mulled over the proposal, his mind ran wild with possibilities of late-night talks, of fishing trips, or even just sitting quietly together watching a game. Could they really recover from the past? Just then, a table nearby erupted in laughter, pulling Alex back to reality. Okay, he finally said, drawing in a deep breath. Let us see where this goes. But I need to set some ground rules. Anything, just name it. With that, a new chapter began, filled with unease and a flicker of hope. Would they manage to navigate the intricate path ahead without stumbling back into the abyss? As the waitress approached again, the restless energy in the air held a promise neither could shake off. What would their first steps look like? And could they truly find a way back to each other? The weeks that followed marked a turning point in their lives, a journey neither Alex nor Bob ever truly expected, but were willing to embrace together. Each day brought them closer, paving the way for vulnerability and honesty that hadn't filled their home in far too long. Bob kept his promise to Alex, attending family gatherings, opening up about his past in ways that once felt impossible. Their evening dinners transformed into ritualistic moments of connection. They shared stories and laughter, and sometimes tears, but every second felt like reclaiming lost time. Alex no longer felt like he carried his father's burden alone. Instead, they bore their truths together. They often found themselves back at the diner, their safe haven. One evening, as they sat quietly after a meal, Bob turned to Alex with a thoughtful expression. He began, I've realized something big. It's not just about me changing. It's about being responsible for the ways I impact you too. You grew up way too fast. Alex looked down, reflecting on the weight of those untold years. You weren't there, Dad. It was tough, he replied softly, pain woven into every word. Bob nodded, his eyes filled with understanding. I can't change that, but I can keep learning how to better be the dad you should be had. I want to hear you. I want you to share those feelings, even if it's hard. Right then, something clicked inside Alex. I am angry. I've been angry for a long time. His heart raced as he finally voiced those buried emotions. You didn't just leave me. You left me wondering if I mattered, if I was worth sticking around for. Bob sucked in a shaky breath. You matter, Alex. You always did. I failed to show you that. Every day since I've been back, I've been trying to show you how much I care. It's not easy, but it's becoming a part of me. And I need to hear that anger, not because it's easy for me, but because it's important. Alex met his father's eyes, new warmth blossoming there, a father finally present. It does feel good to voice it out loud, he admitted. But what if I get tired of this? What if I slip back into feeling alone? That's okay, Bob replied, his voice steady. We all have those moments. What's important is that you tell me. We can't help each other if we don't communicate. I'm committed to showing up for you always. They continued this kind of dialogue, sometimes after dinners, sometimes in quiet solitude. Ultimately, it was that shared experience that emboldened both of them. Slowly, walls crumbled as they built something new together, a bond strengthened by honesty. Then, one sunny Saturday, they decided to attend an event where Bob's military friends would be speaking. Alex felt a swell of pride as he watched his father engage with the community, sharing stories of service, struggles, and triumphs. Eagle Eye, they called him, laughter and camaraderie filling the air. Seeing Bob stand tall amidst his peers melted the remnants of tension in Alex's chest. In that moment, he saw the man behind the shadows as the crowd cheered. Bob caught Alex's eye. The smile on his father's face radiated joy, echoing the love that had been forced to sit in silence for too long. Family, heroism, and community entwined, weaving a tapestry of resilience around them. That evening was one of those rare moments when everything felt right. They drove home with the windows down, the evening air enveloping them in a warm embrace. See, Bob said, laughter bubbling beneath his tone. That felt good. Huh? Yeah, Alex replied, a smile creeping onto his face. Best day in ages. As they parked and stepped inside, the familiar aroma of home warmed him, but what truly filled the air was a sense of belonging, of understanding. Their journey was just beginning, but the fear that once clung so tightly was replaced by hope, the foundation they would rebuild upon. Days turned to weeks with each challenge met, every conversation becoming a step forward. Bob was no longer a shadow. He was a man illuminated by his son's faith, battling every demon alongside him. Alex, in turn, found his confidence blooming with each passing moment. Together, they forged a father-son relationship that triumphed over the pain of the past, transformed by grace and unwavering commitment to each other as they headed toward the future. Hand in hand, a new day dawned filled with endless possibilities. They were family again, truly connected, and nothing was going to break the bond they were building. Now, it's time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to keep feeding the algorithm and show your support. Your engagement makes a huge difference. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. Did it inspire you? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to spread the love.